it's Jonathan, and welcome to another Sigillum Multarum video. Today we are going to begin Operation Diomedes I by talking about the national flag of Russia. As mentioned in the Operation Diomedes trailer from a few days ago, there will be a federal election in Russia from September 17th to September 19th, 2021, in the midst of some intriguing protests. Hence, I decided to get in on the action by talking about the flags of Russia. The national flag of Russia is also known as the tricolor, meaning tricolor. Russian national flags have a very, very long history, not unlike the country itself. In fact, the history of Russian flags is so long that I had to make Operation Diomedes I into 3 different videos. In this video, we'll go over the history of Russian national flags from the 16th century until the end of the 19th century. Now, let's begin with this video. Predshestveniki tricolora, predecessors of the tricolor. The history of Russia goes back a very long time, with the commonly accepted starting date for Russia being the year 862. In fact, the history of Russia is so long and detailed that if I were to talk about it, I would have to make an entirely new series about it. Down in the description, you could check out some videos about Russian history made by some very dedicated YouTubers. However, like many other old countries, Russia would not get its first military flag until many centuries later, and its first national flag until a few centuries after that. As early as 1552, during the reign of Tsar Ivan IV, better known as Ivan the Terrible, the Russian army had been using as its standard a flag that has a square shape on the hoist but a triangle on the fly. The flag featured Jesus on the hoist, and some stars and a cross on the fly. Because of Jesus prominently appearing on this standard, it was known as the Banner of Our Gracious Savior. In Russian, Stiag Zemilostivesheva Spasa. Although some reports claim that the banner was white, others report it being red. Considering how this restored copy, on display in the Kremlin Armory in Moscow, is obviously red, I'll have to side with the latter claims. Either way, the banner would be in use among Russian troops for another 150 years. However, the modern Russian flag colors would only emerge in the late 1600s, initially as a naval ensign. In 1667, the Tsar ruling Russia at that time, Alexis, ordered a frigate called the Oriole, meaning eagle, for protecting Russian merchant ships. The Oriole was built to a Dutch design for use by Russia, making it the first Russian sailing ship built to a European design. In fact, the Oriole made such an impact on Russian history that the picture I'm using here to represent it is from a Soviet postage stamp issued in 1971, over 300 years after the Oriole's time. This ship was launched in 1668 and was used from 1669 until it was burned by rebellious Cossacks in 1670. However, while the Oriole was being used, it flew a naval ensign featuring a blue cross with 2 white rectangles on the upper hoist and lower fly, and 2 red rectangles on the upper fly and lower hoist. The white-blue-red colors on the Oriole ensign may have been based on the red-white-blue national flag of the Netherlands, which, as previously mentioned, contributed to the construction of the Oriole. The Oriole ensign is considered an early Russian flag. Those are the predecessors of the Russian flag. Now, let's move on to the actual tricolor itself. Nachalo flagov Rossii, the rise of the flags of Russia. 35 years after the launch of the Oriole, in the 1690s, the modern Russian tricolor would emerge, and the commonly told story of its creation is, interestingly enough, similar to that of the Oriole flag. In 1693, as part of Peter the Great's modernization of the Russian Navy, and Russia in general, he ordered a frigate to be built in Amsterdam for use by Russia. The frigate arrived in Russia in 1694, flying the Dutch flag. This, so the story goes, inspired Peter to rearrange the colors on the Dutch flag in order to make the first Russian tricolor. There are many other versions of this story, but one way or the other, The tricolor was used as early as 1693, when this flag seen here was flown by Peter the Great's yacht, the Sviatoi Piotr, meaning Saint Peter. This flag is essentially the modern tricolor, but with the Russian coat of arms, the double-headed eagle, on it. This flag is known as the flag of the Tsar of Muscovy, reflecting its role as a royal standard. This flag is significant in Russian history because it is the oldest surviving Russian tricolor, with the original one currently in the possession of the Central Naval Museum in St. Petersburg. It is also historically significant because the idea of adding the double-headed eagle to the tricolor is still in use today with the very similar looking standard of the President of the Russian Federation. Returning to the history of Russian flags, in 1697, a tricolor without an eagle was briefly adopted as the naval ensign of Russia. This flag would last until 1699, when, for reasons that I will get to in a bit, a blue saltire was added. This flag, as well as the aforementioned flag of the Tsar of Muscovy, would last until both were abolished in 1700. However, in 1705, the Russian tricolor without the eagle was adopted as a civil ensign for use on Russian merchant ships, and would be used continuously for that purpose for the next 200 years. While we are talking about flags used by Russian ships during the 18th century, I may as well mention two notable flags that were adopted by Russia for its naval ships at around the same time that tricolor was adopted as a civil ensign. Firstly, sometime between 1699 and 1701, the Imperial Russian Navy adopted the first naval jack of Russia, a red field divided into four corners by white lines, of a blue saltire imposed on the field. Before you ask, no, it has nothing to do with the later war flag of the Confederate States of America, but yes, it might have been based on the Union Jack of Great Britain. The blue saltire on the flag represents St. Andrew, the patron saint of Russia, which is also why Scotland uses a similar design for its own flag. According to one Russian source, the white outline represents Christianity. Meanwhile, depending on who you ask, the red on the jack is either of unknown origin or of a very obvious origin. It is simply the third national color of Russia. Just a few years later, in 1712, the tricolor and the naval jack were joined by a naval ensign for use by the Russian Navy. This flag features a white field with the blue saltire of St. Andrew on it. In fact, the Russian naval ensign is also known as the St. Andrew's flag, or in Russian, Andreevsky flag. By the way, that crossed-out tricolor from earlier was apparently a transition from the tricolor to the Andreevsky flag, which explains the cross. Both the jack and the Andreevsky flag would be used by the Imperial Russian Navy for the rest of its existence. Returning to the tricolor, as I mentioned before, it would be used by Russia for most of the 200 years after its adoption. As a matter of fact, the next changes to the flag of Russia would only occur in 1858. On June 23, 1858, the Tsar of that time, Alexander II, signed a decree regulating the specific national symbols of the Russian Empire. This included adopting a black, gold, white tricolor as the official national flag of Russia. Black and gold were the imperial colors of Russia, while the white at the bottom of the flag was meant to make the Russian flag distinguishable from the black and gold flag used by Austria at the time. This flag was also interpreted so that black represented the power of the Russian government, gold represented the Orthodox Church, and white represented loyalty to Russia. However, the black-gold-white flag was apparently very unpopular in Russia. So on May 10, 1883, the 1858 decree was amended so that the white-blue-red tricolor was readopted as the official civil ensign, as well as for decorating buildings on special occasions. Meanwhile, the black-gold-white flag was kept as the official national flag on other occasions. The white-blue-red and black-gold-white flags would then be used together to represent Russia until 1896, when the black-gold-white flag was abolished entirely as part of the coronation of Nicholas II, leaving the white, blue, red flag as the sole tricolor of Russia. That is the early history of Russian flags. Now, let's move on to the outro. And now you know more about the Russian flag. In this video we've gone over the history of Russian flags from the 16th century right up until the end of the 19th century. With this video we have crammed almost 350 years of Russian flag history into a video that is just a few minutes long. Tomorrow we will continue with Operation Diomedes I by talking about the history of Russian flags during the 20th century. For now, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like on it. If you enjoyed this entire channel, subscribe to it. And if you want to know our next video will be coming out, click the bell button after you subscribe. And I'll see you tomorrow!